I'm back with another unboxing for a popular privacy tool that I often see recommended or talked about, but honestly, I haven't seen a whole lot of firsthand experiences with it, and that is the Nitrokey. So, if you're interested in the Nitrokey, stick around and we're going to talk all about it in this video, plus an unboxing. I actually have a Nitrokey affiliate link. So if you watch this video and you think, hey, that sounds kind of nifty, I think I might want to try one for myself, then you can support us by using that link to buy your own Nitrokey. Now, to be honest, you can, of course, flash all of these yourself. Nothing is to stop you from going out and buying your own laptop and putting cubes on it, or your own Pixel and putting a custom OS on it. And honestly, I would encourage you to do that if you are comfortable doing so, you have the skills, and you have a little bit of time on your hands. It's the best way to ensure that you're getting an actually secure, properly done device, and you're not trusting anyone else not to do anything malicious with it. I don't dive into custom OSs at all. I do mention them. I say like, hey, these exist, but they're advanced. They fall way outside the scope of this website. Go check them out if you want more information. I'm not going to talk about them here. That said, I totally understand. Some people are not comfortable doing it. Maybe you don't have that level of tech savvy yet, even though for some of these things, it's actually super, super easy. Or maybe you're in my boat where you are simply f***ing tired of dealing with the headache and you are totally willing to pay a markup for the convenience. I am totally looking at you, Cubes. Now, to be honest, you can, of course, flash all of these yourself. Nothing is to stop you from going out and buying your own laptop and putting cubes on it, or your own Pixel and putting a custom OS on it. And honestly, I would encourage you to do that if you are comfortable doing so, you have the skills, and you have a little bit of time on your hands. It's the best way to ensure that you're getting an actually secure, properly done device, and you're not trusting anyone else not to do anything malicious with it. So as usual, let's start by talking about what is a Nitrokey. A Nitrokey is an open source hardware security token, kind of like a YubiKey or a solo key, except the YubiKey is not open source. Unlike the other open source option, the solo key, the Nitrokey is a lot more robust. It's capable of things like using PGP keys, storing data and firmware updates, and much more. Now, I went ahead and purchased the Nitrokey 3A Mini, which at the time of this review does not offer any of the PGP or SMIME support or OTP or anything like that, but it does offer FIDO2, which is honestly the main thing I use my keys for. My keys are all kind of glorified solo keys, to be totally honest with you. These things are on the roadmap though and should be arriving soon, so I'm assuming they'll release an update when all those things are ready. Hey guys, future Nate here with a ton of updates, because I recorded this video all the way back in February and then got super busy with things like travel, work, moving to a new apartment, the usual life stuff, so bear with me and I apologize for all the fixes that I'll need to be issuing in this video. So first up, the Nitrokey 3 actually has been updated to include almost all of the functionality that was promised. This ties into some additional updates later in the video, so I will elaborate more in a little bit, but for now, just know that everything I'm about to say about the 3 is a little bit outdated and that the 3 now more closely resembles the 2, which again, I will touch on here in a minute. My only two notes that I have prior to the actual unboxing is number one, shipping cost more than the actual key itself. That was completely insane, but that's probably what you European people deal with all the time, because I've heard that international shipping is kind of a nightmare, and I don't typically purchase things from outside the US, but Nitrokey's from Germany, and yeah, shipping was crazy expensive, so I ended up spending a lot of money on this thing. I also remember asking a question on Twitter. I don't remember what the exact question was, and honestly, at this point, I'm not going to go digging back months to go find it. But it was something simple, like I was asking if the 3 would support a certain feature or something like that, and they did eventually reply, but it took a couple of weeks, and that was a little bit disappointing to see such a slow response time. So I started off my review by going to the usual first thing that I'm curious about these days, which is KeyPass XC, and unfortunately my 3A Mini did not support it. I'm not sure if that's because it didn't do OTP, or maybe it's because it doesn't do challenge response. I think those are technically different things, but either way, for whatever reason, I know that my YubiKey does those things and the 3A Mini did not. Perhaps if I had gotten one of the 2nd gen models, which does support OTP, then it might have worked with KeyPass. Okay, second update here. As part of one of the recent Nitrokey 3 updates, the 3 actually can work with KeyPass XC now. However, the ball is now in KeyPass XC's court to support that functionality. I have no idea how this works or why KeyPass XC needs to make additional changes on their side. That's a bit beyond my skill and expertise level, but the important thing is that the functionality is there, and hopefully we can see that get implemented soon so we have another hardware token option for KeyPass XC. The 3 also does not work with the app. The latest stable release for the app was August 2020, with a few release candidate updates in 2021. It's unfortunate that they did not plan on this device being supported prior to the release. This seems like kind of an oversight. And I'm also a little curious about why the app gets so few updates. Is it intentional to mitigate the possibility of supply chain attacks, or is it just a low priority that they don't really work on? A new firmware has definitely been released since I purchased this device, but I cannot seem to find any instructions on how to update it. Since my key doesn't work with the app, I can only assume that I'm out of luck until the app does get updated and becomes compatible with the key. Again, really unfortunate they did not take this kind of thing into account. Alright, third update here, and this one is super stupid. At the time, I did not realize that there is a second Nitrokey app. From what I can tell, this new app will be the new app moving forward, but don't quote me on that. The documentation isn't exactly clear on that issue. At the moment, the new app only supports the 3 key, while the old app continues to support the 2. So if you plan to buy a 2, for now you'll have to keep using the old app, which I showcase later in the video, and you may have to update to the new one at some point, possibly, I'm not sure. If you get the 3, make sure you go and find the new app, which I will link in the show notes, since, for some reason, Nitrokey does not have this app pinned on their GitHub page, but does have the old app pinned. So in other words, there is absolutely no f***ing indication that the 3 requires a different app. You're just supposed to magically suspect that and figure it out. That said, all of the FIDO and web authorization and U2F functionality worked perfectly. I immediately began to add it to sites like Mastodon and Twitter, no issues whatsoever. And the little string that came with it made it super easy to remove it from my computer at night so that my cats wouldn't mess with it. Although, to be fair, if I hadn't put the lanyard on, my cats wouldn't have messed with it in the first place. Still, it was really cool, and I wish that I had one for my YubiKey, to be honest. It's nice to be able to have a Mini that's portable and small form factor, but also easily removable. I don't know, I just thought that was super cool, and I loved it.
Is this guy a retard?
And just for those wondering why my cats would mess with it, it's because at the time I was leaving my laptop in the bedroom to play like background noise. We've since moved over to a smartish TV, so yeah. But still, I just like to have that background noise, and my cats like to mess with anything they can to get my attention because they're brats. After only a few days of testing, however, I realized that this video was on track to be really boring. It was basically just going to be a repeat of the solo key video with a few more negatives to report, because at this time all the 3A Mini does is FIDO and WebAuth, so not really a lot going on there. That was when I decided to reach out to Nitrokey to see if they would be willing to send me one of their 2nd gen units that comes with some more features. I figured that this would serve several purposes. Number 1, it would be a lot more interesting to you guys. Number 2, it would showcase what Nitроkeys are actually capable of. The fact that they are more like an open source YubiKey and less like an overpriced solo key. And number 3, because these are different models, I figured it would also give you the chance to see what the possibilities are and decide which model is right for you, if any of them. So, updated disclaimer. Nitrokey did end up sending me a Nitro Storage 2 free of charge. This was a demo unit. I informed them as soon as I received it, and I returned it within 45 days after that. I did not get to keep it, and they did actually tell me that if I kept it, they were going to charge me for it. So, yeah. They did not pay me any additional money for the device or the review, and actually they didn't even say anything about the review. At no point did they put any kind of constraints on it or ask me to mention anything or anything like that. It was literally a 100%, hey, we would love to supply you with one, here you go, try it out, send it back, and publish your thoughts. And side note on that, they were actually super accommodating. Like once I received it, I let them know, hey, I just got it, and they straight up told me like, hey, if you need a little extra time to review it, let us know. Really friendly staff. So now that I had my hands on a mature, fully featured Nitrokey, let's see what these things are really capable of. Unfortunately, I did not actually film the unboxing of that. That was an oversight on my end. Now, in my personal opinion, the number of slots was pretty good. There are 15 OTP slots, 3 HOTP slots, and 16 password slots. This will not be enough for most people to replace all of your accounts, especially if you have unique passwords on all of your accounts, which you should. However, it is probably enough for the most sensitive and commonly used accounts, which I think is probably the point. In other words, this device can easily replace your password manager when you're traveling. If you put just your traveling work accounts on there, or just like your most critical bank accounts and storage accounts and email accounts, things like that, this is probably going to do perfect for you. Now, the particular model that I have did not do FIDO, WebAuth, KeePassXE, or Windows Hello, and that's really unfortunate, but when I looked closer at it, it doesn't say that it does those things, so I actually shouldn't have been surprised. That said, I think it would probably work with Windows Hello if I had gotten a different model that supports that kind of thing. I'm pretty sure the solo key is supposed to work with Windows Hello. My computer is just locked down and finicky and doesn't want to do that for some reason. If you are considering a hardware key, which I really think everyone should because they're actually super easy and not as challenging as they seem, again, the team that I spoke to was awesome and supportive. Again, they did not put any constraints on this or ask me to say anything specific. They were really friendly, really communicative, and super eager to contribute. But it was something simple, like I was asking if the 3 would support a certain feature or something like that, and they did eventually reply, but it took a couple of weeks, and that was a little bit disappointing to see such a slow response time. Thank you guys for watching, and if there's any other products like this that get a lot of mention in the privacy community, but nobody really has a lot of hands-on experience, let me know. I would love to check them out.